Hi there, and welcome to Limitless, the space where your big dreams meet grounded energy and mastering manifestation becomes your new normal. I'm Alyssa Simpson, mindset and manifestation coach, your unorthodox free spirit, and now your newfound permission slip to do life your way. Here, we break the rules by ditching societal norms of the hustle and grind. We embrace flow, alignment, and the bold decision to follow what lights you the fuck up. In each episode, I'll be sharing soul downloads, mindset shifts, energetic upgrades, and raw, authentic stories to help you unlock your magnetism, collapse timelines, and create a life that feels as good as it looks. So if you're ready to remember who you are, trust your desires, embody your highest self, and manifest from your authentic power, it's time to sit back, relax, and get ready to become limitless. Hello, and welcome back. Welcome back. It is so good to see you here today. I am not gonna lie to you. This episode is very uncomfortable for me to record, but we are in the year of the fire horse. We are seeing a lot of really incredible things happening in our timeline that we're in. And I just feel like such a nudge and a pull towards just ripping off some band-aids that need to be ripped off. And I feel like this episode is more for me. And if you get something from it, amazing. I'm so happy to hear and be kind of a permission slip for you through this. But this is something that needs to be said, needs to be talked about, because I am actively in the middle of working through this thing that I'm in, right? So, as you know, we have shifted into our Restfully Rich receiving era. And building out what Restfully Rich is has been a project of mine for, I don't know, the better half of the last 4 months, 5 months. And if I'm really honest, this has been something that has been brewing inside of me, through me, whatever, for the past like 6 years, maybe even longer. But if I'm really put a lot of mental real estate into when and where and how, 6 years feels like a confident timeline. So you've been here for a while. You've heard me talk about Restfully Rich. Maybe you are also watching on YouTube. You're listening to me on Spotify, Apple. You are checking out what I'm saying on Instagram and in my email and all these things. But there's been something quiet that I have been processing, okay? Because as a self-aware baddie that I am, there's always room to become more self-aware. And I really do think so. A reason why Restfully Rich is such a passion project of mine, and it is such a it's more, I feel more of an emotional tie to this than I have anything else that I've ever brought to fruition as far as within my coaching. And when I was just, alone yesterday, I had just put my son down and I was sitting and, just in the quiet, which I like to do, and just, letting things come to a head, if you will. And I was like, you know what? I really need to share a little bit of about me. And then my initial response was like this tightness in my chest. And I was like, "Whew, that's weird. Why do I feel this tightness when I'm thinking of?" And I'm going to get to what I'm talking about here in a moment, but I'm just giving you the lead up. So you're probably like, "Why is she talking in fucking riddles?" Stick with me. I'm getting to the point. And I realized, like, holy shit, like I am still actively working through this limiting belief and this programming that I have. And it's so interesting because the entirety of what I'm teaching and guiding and leading inside of Restfully Rich is this exact programming that I am knocking out of my brain as we speak, like in real time. This is something I'm actively working on, and we all go through seasons of becoming aware of something that we don't necessarily like, or that we realize is a limiting belief or a programming that we do not align with. And then we are going through the process of removing it. And that's what I'm in right now. And this has been a feeling of mine, like I said, past 6 years, maybe even my whole life. But if I really look back, it's been at least 6 years of carrying this belief that I'm not going to lie, I've known was always there. But I kind of thought to myself, like, if I don't breathe life into it, it can't do anything. Right. Which is so stupid because it's literally not at all factual or true. And I know this as someone who mentors on this and guides on this and teaches on this. Like, I know that if you just ignore it doesn't mean it's going to go away, but maybe I thought I was special in the sense that I could just sweep it under the rug and ignore it and see what happens. But the fact of the matter is, and here we go. Here's your bombshell for the week, you guys. And again, I feel so uncomfortable talking about this. So we are the only way to what is it? Get over something is through it. The only way to whatever. You know the analogy better than I do because I'm just rambling at this point. So when it comes to me and my finances, my money, me and my money's relationship, me and my money's story, I 85% of the money that I have did not come from my business or from working. And that feels really uncomfortable to say because for so long, especially since I started my entrepreneurial journey, I have felt that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't worthy enough, that my work doesn't really matter because I'm not being compensated for it. But what the truth is that I haven't had to earn in the traditional programming sense, right? Because like I said, majority of my finances didn't come from working. Like I didn't have to exchange anything for a monetary value amount. And if I'm being honest, 80% of my thoughts throughout like the majority of the week was, how do I prove that I'm worthy of having this money? Like anyone's number one, like anyone's looking at me and going, But see, I say that, but I feel it in my bones. Like whenever I specifically talk with like my financial advisor and then we talk about my work and I just feel like they probably think that I am such a kook because they're like, what do you even do? Because all of like, this is nothing like, why do you even have a business? Because none of this is from your business, you know? And it's just, it feels like I'm always on the defense, but to who? Right. So then I had to go back and rework it and go, where did this belief come from? And of course, childhood, of course, all the things, of course, I remember specific arguments that my parents would have where my dad would criticize my mom for not bringing home enough money, right? Or my mom and I would go shopping and we would hide whatever we would get in the trunk and like slowly bring it into the house while my dad was asleep or when he wasn't home, or, we would get specific foods and we would hide it in the fridge because if dad saw it, he'd be pissed that we spent money on this. And it's like, because she wasn't, again, if you're watching this, I'm using a lot of air quotes, or not, if you're listening just on Spotify or Apple or wherever you're listening, I'm using air quotes when I'm saying this, when I say work and earned and working, because that's such a programmed idea. But if my mom wasn't working enough or bringing home enough money, then it was like an issue. And there was always arguments like that was stored inside of me. And it feels, even as I'm talking about it right now, my stomach feels uneasy. Like I feel like I'm about to throw up. Like my chest feels really tight because it's all like a lived experience. And this is why nervous system work has to be a foundational piece that you are doing anytime that you are talking about becoming a new version of yourself, when you're stepping into a new identity, when you desire to fix whatever type of thing you have going on. You have got to do it through a nervous system lens, because whatever is stored in your subconscious mind, it's always going to communicate it through the body. Your body's going to feel it first before you ever even realize that it is a limiting belief or a programming that is actually hindering you in your real life day to day. So when it really all came to a head for me, well, let me back it up. So when I first started my entrepreneurial business and I would be in these like coaching containers with other women and they would be talking about like their stresses on finance and like they were so stressed out about finances. And I felt like I kind of had to also say that I was stressed about my finances because on paper, I wasn't making a significant amount of money through my business, right? But I was still able to have all of these like luxurious things through my finances, but they weren't tied to my business, you know? So I felt like some kind of a fraud, or like, I don't like, what am I even doing if I'm not, if like on paper, you look at my bank accounts, and all of these accounts have nothing to do with my business are so much more well substantial than my business one. I always try to justify it, to defend it, to try to prove like, well, even that, like, well, look at me if I do this. Like, I don't have to be generating money through my business, because look at, like, well, maybe I'll just give away a whole bunch of stuff for free, and then I can kind of justify it. And that was and I'm having this aha moment as I just said that, because that is exactly what I did. I would give away the house, the farm, everything for free. I would undercharge. I would do all these things to prove and show that I'm worthy and deserving, so that I can compensate for my financial life outside of my business. How crazy is that? And I know I'm not alone in this. And this is why Restfully Rich exists, because I am restfully rich, and I've done it outside of my business, right? Like, what a beautiful thing. For the past 3 years, I could have literally not worked at all and been completely more than taken care of. Okay. But I never allowed myself to feel safe doing that. So I would fill up my to-do list. I would find something else to be busy with. I would, pick apart things and re-put them together within my business and stuff, just so I could say that I'm like working, so that I can feel deserving and worthy of my financial situation. And as we are getting closer to the start date of Restfully Rich, I realize that every woman who is not already inside and who is on their way to being inside, they were me just this week, having this epiphany of, damn, I tie so much of my worthiness to like the actual output I'm putting, right? Because even though my business wasn't generating the income that I desired it to, I still had to find ways to make sure that I was productive, so that the money that I was restfully receiving made sense in my mind and I felt safe and worthy of it. Does that make sense? It makes sense for me. And I, even more so now, as I'm like unpacking this and working through it in real time, which again, this is all the framework that I'm teaching inside of Restfully Rich. And I've told y'all before, I can simply not lead a true powerhouse movement of restfully rich women if, number one, I haven't experienced it on my own, which I am in real time. I'm I'm living my Restfully Rich framework in real time. I'm going through the steps, I'm going through the processes, I'm going through the actual guts of what it is that I am leading and guiding other women to do. But this is more of a, hey, like, I feel you, I see you, and I am completely and totally aware of the heaviness that you carry when you think about tying your dollar amount to your worth. And even though you weren't maybe in the traditional sense receiving money, earning money, whatever the word is, working for your money, you still have this idea and this belief that your output is what equals your success, when really it is how safe you feel with the money. It is how safe you feel within your own body. It is how safe you feel within your own design and your nervous system and all of these things. And the thought of, oh my God, well, if I don't work, then it's all going to go away. Or like, if I don't hustle and prove and continue up this crazy momentum, it's all going to go away. But I'm telling you right now, it won't. It's only going to get better. It's only going to get more abundant and more rich and more wealthy, because you're allowing yourself to put your nervous system first. You're allowing yourself to put your desires first. And you're allowing yourself to fully step back and say, I trust and I surrender that I'm being provided for, and my effort and my input do not equal how much I'm provided for. And that's the vibe. That's the goal. And I really hope that within sharing this, not only do you feel seen and heard, but you feel a little bit of a relief. Like, okay, it's not just me. Because honestly, saying it out loud, I feel like, okay, it's not just me. Because number one, I wouldn't have the wherewithal to even say it out loud unless there was a reason behind it. So here we are. You're welcome. We're alive and well, and this is what is happening in real time, in this real moment. And if this landed for you in your body, you've got to get inside of Restfully Rich. We start April 1st. The prices will never be this low again. You will never get me coming off of my own threshold of going through this again. So, like, honestly, the potency inside of this is going to be top tier, high level because of just the energy that I'm in, right? You got to get inside. We are shifting the way things are happening. We are doing it unapologetically. And at the end of it, we're going to finally feel safe receiving and being provided for, because that's the actual goal here. All right? Link is in the show notes. If you have questions, you know where to find me, and I'll see you next week. Bye. I'm so grateful that you tuned in today. If this episode activated something in you, share it with a bestie who's also ready to become limitless. And don't forget to leave a review to help more people find this space. Wanting more? Get on my email list and subscribe to my YouTube channel for exclusive downloads, mindset shifts, and behind the scenes magic that I only share there. The link is in the show notes. Until next time, keep trusting the pull, honoring your energy, and manifesting your most abundant life.